Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to continue our discussion on foundations of financial analytics and our fundamentals. I provided you some notes uh, about the introduction to financial analytics. I will not discuss anymore the descriptive portion here. Okay, but our objective for this morning is to understand the role of data and quantitative methods in modern finance, and we're going to use R and R Studio environment for our financial data analytics. And we're going to have a brief review of R, the different data types, which I expect you already to uh, have seen the videos in Module 0. This is just a quick review of what Module 0 is. And towards the end of this discussion, hopefully we're going to reach this portion where we're going to download financial data using online sources using R. Okay, so this is the outline of our module. I'll dispense with the discussion because you can easily read this. Okay, so what is financial analytics? The definition. I'll leave you class to peruse over this, and hopefully you just don't focus on this, but also look at other sources. What we're going to do now is we're going to look at the the use of R. Okay, so let's go now to this is just introduction to R, which we already did. Okay, so let's start here with line around 180 plus. Okay, so we said that when we write codes in an R Markdown file, we use a code chunk. This is a code chunk class. You can see that it begins with backticks, and then the curly bracket, and then R, and then backticks. So you'll know that this is a code chunk, and it's different from the script script itself because of the different coloration here. Now, the shortcut for creating a code chunk, anyone, do you recall? What's the shortcut for writing this? Because if I'm going to manually write this, it will be quite long. So that will be backtick, and then curly brackets R, and then close at another 3 backticks. So can anyone tell me in Windows environment and in Mac OS, what's the shortcut for, yes, kinda? Thank you.
For Mac po,
Okay.
it's Command Option I.
Okay, command plus option plus I. Thank you. That's right, kinda. Okay, those any Mac users kindly confirm that by typing command option I, you'll get this, no? Okay. Just our second class. Okay. How about for Windows class? For Windows users, it is okay. Control Alt I. Correct. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kim. So that's Control Alt I. Okay, kindly try, please. Depending on your operating system, Control, Control plus Alt plus I. Okay. So I'm using Windows, but let me erase this. And then if I press Control Alt I, then I generate this. Now, the code chunk is very important for an RMD file because this is where we put our codes. Okay, this is where the codes are written so that the result will be also generated in your R script. Okay. All right, then let's go to this portion where we review the variables, the data that you can create in R. So for example, when you create an object in R, you can give it a name, and the name should be only one. When I say only one word, you can concatenate, or you can string the words by means of an underscore. So you cannot choose my first variable with spaces there. That will not work if I, for example, use this. So I'm creating this object, my first variable. Notice that there's an X sign here. It tells us that there's an unexpected token. R will not understand that. So if I want to create an object called my first variable, this will not run because of this one. Okay. So I have to put here Control Z. Let me put it back. There, class. Okay. This is treated as one word. Okay. Because it combines the words with this symbol underscore. Okay. So here, my first variable, and then I'm using this. This is called your assignment operator. And your assignment operator is equivalent to the equal sign. Okay. It's equivalent to the equal sign. However, it is suggested that when we're naming objects and assigning it values, it's better to use the assignment operator. And the shortcut is Alt minus. There you go here, Alt minus. For Mac, what's the code for the assignment operator? Anyone? What's the shortcut? Does Mac have Alt? Kindly chat, please, class. Mac users, do you have Alt there? No. So what should it be? Walang Alt sa Mac, therefore this is it Option I or Command I? Mac users, please. What's a shortcut in order to create an assignment operator? Mac users, please. Remove this and then try Option I or Command I. What happens? Those using Mac, please. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Migs. So it's Option minus, okay? Option minus for Mac. So for Windows users, it's Alt minus. So let me type that Alt minus. I'm using Windows there. So what does let me my environment is empty. So what happens when we when we run this? Let me first remove the parentheses here. I'll tell you what what's the use of that. So if I just want to run a particular line of code inside a code chunk, then I just point my cursor sorry, to anywhere in that code chunk, in that line. I can put it here, my cursor here, or I can put it here, anywhere, okay? And then run this by Control Enter. Okay, so Control Enter. Okay, notice what happened to your environment. In your environment, what happened is it created under the values. Okay, notice this is values, and the name of this is my first variable. It's 100. If I want to print, okay, if I want to really show what's the value of my first variable, I can type here, sorry. I can type here my my underscore. Notice when I type my underscore, R automatically guesses that the object that I'm looking at might be an object that begins with my and then underscore. Now, it that's so happened that in memory of R now, there's only one object that that has that beginning three letters. So it correctly guesses that the object that I want printed is this object, my first variable. Okay, so I don't have to type everything. I just use tab there. Tab and then control enter. And you can see that it prints now what my first variable is. Okay. If I want, or you can do this, if I don't want to type the print, okay, it's also the same, by the way, class, as print my first variable. So it's the same. And then control enter. Okay, it prints 100. If I don't want to have to type this, I just want R to print immediately once I run this code, the assignment code. Then you put it under parentheses. So if you notice, if I press Control Enter, then it prints, okay, whatever the value of this object is, okay. And then here we create another object, current price. You notice that this is accepted because although there are two words, it's joined by this underscore. Okay, so notice that I can use also equal to. Let's see what happens if I let's let's again put this under in parentheses so that it will automatically print. Okay, control enter. You notice that it indeed printed, and you have this current price now under our environment. Okay, so it means that R will recognize uh, every time you use the name my underscore first underscore variable, then it will recognize that it's equivalent to 100, or the current underscore price, it's equivalent to 150.75. Okay. But again, I said that it's advisable not to use equal as an assignment operator because equal can be used as part of an equation. Okay. So let me just use the assignment operator less than and then dash. Okay, so we now have two objects here recognized in our environment here. Okay, so we can now perform operations. So this just prints my first variable and current price, but uh, we can now perform operations. Okay, we can do arithmetic, plus, minus, multiply, divide, and exponentiation, or even matrix multiplication. Okay, so for example, here, I'm creating this object sum prices, which is just the sum of my first variable and current price. Now, R will recognize this because these are existing already in our environment. Take note that it falls under values. Okay. There's another type called data, which I'll explain later on. So here, we're creating an object called sum prices. And sum prices is just the sum of my first variable and current price. Okay, let's run this. Control enter. And you can see now another value entered into another object entered into our values, sum underscore prices, which is just the same of your sum of your current price and my first variable. Okay, so there you go. And then you can get also diff prices, which is the difference between current prices minus my first variable. Let's try this. And now I have this diff prices here, okay, which is just difference between difference of current price and my first variable. And product class, my first variable times 2. So we're creating this object called product. Control enter. All right, so we have here product. Current price is 100 times 2, or division, current price divided by 3. Okay, so it will create now an object called division. Okay, which is just your current price divided by 3. Current price is 150.75. Okay, divide by 3, that gives you 50.25. So pretty straightforward. You can also exponentiate By exponentiation class, you use caret here. So we're creating this object squared, which is my first variable squared. Or the square root, you can use sqrt or raised to the 1/2. Okay. So if I, by the way, if I want to run everything at the same time, so you can go anywhere here and then press Control Shift Enter. Control Shift Enter will run everything. But if you just want to run a particular line, you use Control Enter. Or another way to run everything is to use this one. Okay, here, run current chunk, this one. Current chunk is this whole one class. Or you can use this one, run, here, run, either run selected line. So if you're in a particular line, see now class the shortcut, Control Enter. If you want to run the current chunk, everything here, it's Control Shift Enter. Anywhere you are in this code chunk, Control Shift Enter will run everything. Or if you want, run the next chunk, it's Control Alt N. It will run. So for example, you're here and you type Control Shift N here or Control Alt N, it will run the next one. Okay, so here you can see different types of running code chunks. You can run everything, run all. Control Alt R, which means all the code chunks that are available in this in this RMD file will be run. Okay, we're not going to do that because that will take long. All right. Okay, so let me just run everything here, and it will run everything. So you'll now have your squared and your square root sum prices. Squared, okay, and square root sum prices is this one. Okay, let me pause for a while. Okay, and as for your feedback, I know I might be going too fast. Okay, please in the chat box, please kindly comment if you're able to follow or if you have any questions. Okay, thank you, Johan. Kim, thank you. Okay, let's wait for your classmates. Kaina, thank you. Nami, thank you. As I said, class, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. Okay, good. I hope the others are also able to follow. All right, no questions. Okay, that's good. Thank you so much. Others, please, if you have any questions, don't be ashamed to ask questions. Okay, so let's now go here. Okay, we can also do comparison. Okay, so if you take a look at this one, okay, so we're creating this object is greater. Notice that I know this is the object that's being created because of this assignment operator. And then you can find here an inequality here. So current price greater than my first variable. Now recall that current price has a value and my first variable has also a value. Okay. Now we are actually, this is a logical test. It's just if asking if current price is greater than my first variable. So if we run this class, Control Enter, you notice that, okay, is greater. We created that object is greater there. All right, is greater here. Mm. So it created this object is greater, and it gave a value, true or false. So this data is called a logical data. Okay, so logical data can be either true or false. So in R, true or false exists as a special character. You cannot use a name, let's say, for example, I'm going to use a name, say, true. Okay, true, sorry, true, and then alt minus, and then let's see, uh, square root of 58. Let's see if this will run. Okay, Control Enter. All right, error, class, error. Because the word true and the word false are special characters. You can not use it to name any other object. Or even the shortcut is letter T. Okay. Or let me use F. F. So I'm going to run this. F is the square root of 58. R will not allow that. Control enter. Okay, what happened? Oh, wait. F? Wait class. Kanina yung true, ba't ganun? Dapat hindi 49. Okay, square root of 49. Okay, okay, sorry. Uh, so inaalaw yung F or T, no? Pero class yung false, yung buong word, no? Capital, no? False. Let's see this class. False, square root of 58, hindi inaalaw, no? Okay, I stand corrected class. If it's just T or F, inaalaw niya. But T can also stand for true, but it's not limited to true, no? Pero yung word mismo na true or false, hindi siya pwedeng gamitin to represent any other number. But T or F can be, okay? Parang binago ni R. Dati hindi pa pwedeng ganun eh. Okay, anyway. All right. So, any questions so far, class, about this, yung relationship na to? By the way, uh, kaya sabi ko kanina, class, it's not advisable to use yung equal to dun sa assignment operator because it might cause confusion, okay? When you're using comparison, okay? Comparison class, when you're comparing two objects, you use double equal to, okay? Not equal to is exclamation point equal to, and then we have less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. So those are the comparators used. And then we also have and then or, and then not. Okay. So for example, we have this condition. We're creating this object, complex condition, and then it's current price greater than 300 and, okay, my first variable less than 200. Notice now that we are using the operator and here, okay? And, okay, and means class, both conditions have to be met. This condition, current price is greater than 300, and my first variable should be less than 200. Both of them have to be met. So question, is current price greater than 300? Okay, the answer is false, right? And then let's change this first class. Let's make it 100. Okay, current price is greater than 100, and my first variable is, where's my first variable? Less than 200. So both of them are correct. So if let's print this class. Let's put parentheses here, beginning and end class. Okay, so that it will print what is the value of complex condition. Control enter. Notice that it's true because both conditions were met. Okay, if I change, okay, what's current price? 150. If I make this a while ago, I made this how much? 300. No? So this is false, class. This is false. Current price greater than 300. That's false. However, the second one is true. So what will be the answer, class? Let's see. Complex condition, control enter. The answer, class, is false. Okay, why? Because the use of the operator and the ampersand here indicates that both conditions have to be met. Now, since only the second condition is met, then R will return a false. Okay. If I change it into this one, class, let's copy this. Okay. I'll change it into this bar. Okay. Here, this means or. So for or, it means that At least one of the condition has to be met. Okay. In this case, current price is false, is wrong, but my first variable is correct. So if you run this, control enter, all right, it's true because although the first is wrong, the second one is correct. So you can see the difference between the use of the AND operator and the bar operator here. Okay. AND is strict condition that both statements have to be correct, while the bar condition uh, requires that at least one of them, if you have so many conditions, no, at least one of them should be true. Okay, again, I'll pause for a while and request for your feedback, class. If so far the comparators and the logical operations are clear. Thank you. Thank you, Johan. Okay, John, thank you. Kaina. Okay, Julian, thank you. For how about the others? Kim, thank you. Request everyone, when you reply, class, kindly share your answer to everyone so that I don't have to go back uh, to the everyone in the meeting message. All right. Okay, I hope you're able to follow along. Notice that I'm going quite a bit fast because these lessons are actually part of your module 0. All right. So let's move on, class. Here. Okay. So let's take a look at functions. Now, there are many functions in R. Okay. Functions are used in order to perform uh, a particular operation. Okay. For example, here we're creating this my numbers, and C stands for combine or concatenate. So combine 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Let's see what happens when we create this object, my numbers, control enter. And let's take a look at so it's also under values. Okay. So take note of this. Later on, we'll see that there's another type of data structure. Okay. Values. And here, my numbers, 1 up to 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay, let's try to print. Let's print this my numbers. Just put here parentheses. No, I don't have to type. Okay. Control enter. And you can see that it prints here below the my numbers 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay. Now let's perform some operations or some functions. Uh, One example is sum. This is a function. Okay, sum, average, okay, mean, sorry, standard deviation, etc. So let's try to create this object total sum, which is just the sum of my numbers. Okay, let's run this, control enter. All right, and you can see here the object total sum, okay, is the sum of 1, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, which is 150. Okay, or you can create this object other average value, okay, which is just the mean of my numbers. So you can see that the average value is 30. Okay, all right. Whenever you want help with a particular function, okay, let's see standard deviation, for example. The function is SD. Okay, SD. Let's see what the SD value is. SD is, okay, where's SD? Standard dev. Okay, this is the object that we created. Let's see if we can validate, class, the standard dev here. Okay, what is the formula for standard deviation, class? So let's create this object st dev, and it's equal to, remember, it's the number minus the average, right? Okay, the sum of the numbers. Okay, let's do that. Sum of uh, what are the numbers? It's my numbers. Okay, sum of my numbers minus the mean, right, of my numbers. Okay, if you recall the formula class for for standard deviation, it's the sum of my numbers minus the mean of my numbers. And then what do we do next? Class, what's next? Okay, yes, we square it. What do you do first? Do you get the sum or do you get the squared? What do you do first, class? Is it get the sum first and then square, or get the difference and then square, class? Answer is okay, get the difference and then what? Get the difference, you're correct, and then okay, okay, you're correct. Okay, so to avoid confusion, okay, so let me let me do this, class, no? By the way, we're creating this object. So let's do it step by step so that you don't get confused, no? So it's my numbers minus the mean of my numbers. Okay. So what will happen here is that it will note that my numbers has 5 elements, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. If you subtract mean of my numbers, what will happen is that it will subtract from each of the numbers, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, it will subtract the average. Okay. The average is, the mean is, what's that? Average is 30. So it will subtract 30 from each of the of my numbers. Okay, so let's create this. Let's make this one. Let's do it step by step, class, and print this. And then I'll just put here, I'll just close the code there. I'm sorry if I keep on, I'm moving fast, class. So we're creating first my numbers minus the mean of my numbers. Let's see what happens. Okay, so I don't need this. Open, sorry, to print. Okay, I'm putting an open parenthesis, let's see, class. All right, so what do you have here, class? Each number, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, you subtract the average, which is 30. So we got this, class. And then what do we do? Okay, so in order to avoid confusion, let me first delete this. Okay, and then I put this squared. All right, so I square everything, right? So this will be squared. So if I run this, class, okay, again, I put parentheses here so that it prints. Okay, now you can see that the numbers a while ago were squared already. Okay, then once again, I remove this. So what do we do with this? The numbers minus the average and then squared. So we put a function here, class. We sum them up. Okay, sum. Okay, put it on everything under sum. Okay, and then divide it by how many? How many? Assuming this is just a sample, you have 5 observations minus 1. Okay, so let's just put it, okay, we can put here count of my numbers minus 1. Okay, so there you go, guys. So it's the numbers minus their average and then square and then get the sum. Okay, get the sum and then divided by how many my numbers, which this is 5, of course, and then minus 1, assuming that this is a sample. All right, and there's still one lacking here. We get the square root, class, because that formula, class, is actually that formula is your variance. So we get the square root of your Okay. So this one class, let's see. Okay. Uh, count. Excel pala to class. Okay. My numbers. Let's see. Length ba? Maybe this is length, no? Let me see. Control Enter. Yeah, length. So standard dev 1. Okay. Okay. Standard dev 1 is 15.1. 81. Standard dev is 15.81. So we just use the definition of standard deviation, and it's the same as your SD. Okay, so maybe I should share this to save on time, class. Okay, of course you may wish to analyze that. All right. Okay, if you want to ask for help regarding a particular function, okay, you may use question mark or help. Okay, help, for example, standard deviation, help mean. Okay, it will appear here in the help windows here. Okay, I will not run that now. Okay, let's just go here to the next one. Okay, all right. Here you use the paste function. Paste, what are we pasting? Paste. This is text sum of prices, then comma, sum prices. So let's first run this. Okay, and let's see what happens. Okay, so it prints this text sum of prices, and then it recognizes what sum underscore prices is. Okay, it's an object which sum prices, which is equivalent to 50.75 here. So that's why it generates this output. Okay, we're printing. Pasting means putting together this text sum of prices and then with a colon. Okay, and then comma. Sum prices is an object. Okay, and it has a value, so that we get this print out. Here also, average values in my numbers. Okay, average value is also an object. Let's print both. Okay, so we have average value. Okay, so pasting class will allow us to combine text and also the value here. All right. Okay. All right. Now, may I have again your feedback? I know, class. I apologize for moving a bit quite fast. Okay, but again, I'm open to, if I'm going too fast, please tell me, and I'm very much happy to repeat a portion here. Okay, so your feedback, please. So far, class, everything is clear. Any questions? Okay, thank you. Johan, thank you. Kaina, thank you. Okay, John, thank you. All right. I hope the others are able to follow along. Okay. Uh, Celeste, thank you. Kim, thank you. Yeah, I'll be uploading the recording. Yeah. Ito, class, to tell you honestly, this one was discussed already in the previous section. Last time we had yung sa classroom, no? Last Tuesday. Kaso, I recorded it. However, I failed to realize that I didn't bring my earphone. So nagre-record ako dun sa computer lang, and naka-set up yung Zoom ko nun sa microphone. So hindi nakuha yung audio. So sayang, no? Nasayang yung 1.5 hours ng video. Anyway, uh, where I'm here recording it now. Okay, so let's move on, class. All right. This is just a discussion class. It's just summarizes class yung sum, mean, SD, etc. Okay. Now let's take a look at other data types. No? Fundamental data types. We have numeric, character, logical, date and time. Okay. We're creating this object called integer value, and then we write here 10L. Now, when you use L, it means that you are imposing that this data should be integer. You know the difference between integer class and a decimal class, no? An integer can only take on whole numbers. It cannot take on decimals. So the why the distinction? Because it has something to do with providing memory for your allotting memory for the number. Of course, integers will take on less memory. So if we run this class, okay, integer control enter, you see now that integer here class, integer value is also denoted as 10L. And if I get here type of integer value, you can see integer. So integer class is also numeric. However, it's a special type of numeric value. It cannot take on decimal places. Okay. On the other hand, here we're creating this object 10.5. Let's run everything class. And you can see here that the type of decimal place is double. Okay, double also stands for quantitative that can take on decimal places. Okay, so these are just numbers, can be integer or any number that can take on decimal places are are called they're quantitative. Okay, but they're not integers. All right. Okay, so here character class. How about character? A character object class in R has to be placed in quotes. Okay, so for example here, I'm creating this object stock ticker and quotes, Apple, and then close quotes. Also here, company name, okay, and close it in quotations. And then let's run everything here. All right, both are characters. Okay, very easy class to specify or to recognize a character uh, data. Okay, here also logical, we discussed this a while ago. Here is active trader, true, okay, has loan, F. Okay, this is what I meant a while ago. Uh, you can use F class as to name an object, okay, but you cannot use F uh, as an object to indicate other things. F here stands for false, okay. So if you're giving a value to an object, okay, take note of the difference class here. F, here F, okay, and that has, okay, I'm sorry, uh, okay, has loan. Okay, take a look at this class. Here I'm creating the object has loan and it's equal to F. The F here class, okay, stands for false. It's not a letter class. Okay, so if I run this, for example, control enter, and then let's say type of control C, control V, type of, let's say, has loan. All right, type of has loan, control enter. It's, notice class, it's double. This one also, okay, sorry, hindi ko pa na-run to, no? Control enter. Okay, logical class. Okay, this is logical. And then this one, type of has loan. Notice the difference class. It's double. Here, it has loan. Here. Did I run this already? Wait. Has loan F. So where is has loan? 7. Did I assign the, did I assign F a while ago here? Okay. Where's the F? Okay, wait, class, sorry. All right. So has loan F, let's see the distinction class of this one. F has loan. So if you take a look at this one class, I'm using F as a name, and uh, the element of F is has loan. Okay. So if I type here Control C, type of, and if I use F, Control Enter. Okay, F is character class here. It's character because I use it as to denote the character object has loan. But I cannot use false here class. You notice that false is already has already a special, it's already used to denote here a logical vector class. Okay, so if I try to run this, Control Enter, all right, error na siya, no? Because you cannot use the word false or true as a name for an object. Okay, but you can use the letter F as a name for an object. Okay, all right. So just a distinction. So this one cannot be class. No, you just comment that out. All right. So far, class, are we clear about logical values, true or false? Okay, true and false cannot be used to name uh, as a name for other objects because they are special characters. Are we clear so far, class? Okay, good. Thank you, Kaina. Double, thank you, Johan, for the question. Double is a type of quantitative data. Okay, so let's say any number class that can take on a decimal place is designated as a double. Okay, as distinguished from integer. An integer is also a quantitative, however, it cannot take on decimal place. Okay, thank you for that question, Johan. Did that answer your question? Okay, good. Good. Thank you so much for your questions, class. Na? All right. So let's go to dates, class. Again, class, I'm going to post this lesson so that you'll have time to review it if you want. Okay, date and time are very important to us in financial analytics. Okay, because many of our data, financial data, are time series data. So which means that they have the time component. Okay. All right. So here, take a look, class. Today, date, as that date. Okay, 26, let's say 2601, let's change this. Today's date is January 20. So let's run this class. I'm creating this object, today date, and then I'm using this code function as that date. So let's see what happens, class. And then let's see. Okay, let's run everything, by the way. Okay, take a look, class. Now, why is type of today date double class? But the class is date. All right. So type of and class are related. They actually measure almost the same thing, but type is type is more nuanced as far as class is more nuanced. Higher level yung classification ni ano no ni class. Si type of it's more of the basic classification. Why is it double? Because dates in R, just like in Excel, are represented by numbers. Class represented by numbers. So we'll study that in the future. But the number 0 is actually 1970 January 1. Okay, January 1, 1970. We will illustrate that in the near future. All right. Okay, so instead of as.date, you can also use this as.POSIX-CT. POSIX-CT is also a type of date, but it can accommodate also the time. Okay, the date here, as.date can only accommodate the date, but not the time, and neither the time convention, the time zone. POSIX-CT has the power to recognize the hours, minutes, seconds. So this is very much used in trading. Kasi sometimes they need to record time as a function of hours, minutes, seconds. So if I run everything here, okay, you see here, so this is current date time is double, and then the class is not only a date, but also a special type of date called POSIX-CT. Okay, all right. Now it's almost time, but let me just finish this class. No? Okay, now definitely the other section class will, we have already discussed this, but I'll repeat this with them. So what I'm going to post is the video of the other section. So I hope you don't mind that because it will include the discussions of this one. So I suggest class that can you please take some time to view the other portions here in the other sections video, which I'm going to post class. So I'm going to post again, my request is for you to watch that video class kasi it will include these portions. Kasi class na-discussan namin to, no? So parang review na lang namin sa kanila to. And I don't want both of you to have different lessons on the same days. I want that we be on the same page, no? So what I'm going to post is not the recording of this of our class, but the recording of the other class. I hope you don't mind that. In the other class, I'm pretty sure we'll be able to uh, finish up to the end. So that by Friday, okay, I hope you watch the remaining part of the video so that we'll be on the same page so that we move on already to the next lesson. Kasi foundations lang naman tong lesson na to, no? So let's just, it's almost time class. Let's just run this, yung whole, ito, no? Here class. Wait, what number is that? Okay, here. Okay. Take a look at this one, class. Oh no. Up to list lang class, no? So here I'm creating this object, mix vector. Notice that I'm using C and I'm combining one, hello, true. Now notice that these are different objects. Okay? One, hello, true. So what will happen if I combine them? What will happen is that it will coerce class. Kasi hindi pwede tayong mag-create ng vector eh. By definition, class vector is a data structure that contains only the same types of data. So one, hello, true. So what will R do? It will automatically convert everything into character. Why? Why into character? Because class, hierarchically, si character yung pinaka nasa taas, no? Bakit? Si one class, pwedeng maging character yan, no? Just put quotes. Si true, pwede rin maging character. Put quotes. Si hello class, hindi pwedeng maging number. Hindi rin siya pwedeng maging logical value. Okay? So let's print this quickly. All right. So you take a look class, no? Si mix vector, tingnan nyo what happened. Dito sa objects natin, environment natin, character 1 to 3. So naging character, it became character class. It coerced it into the yung higher level, no? Yung character na to class. So naging 1 quotes, hello quotes and true quotes. Yun ang type niya, no? These are character. Okay? Character. Now if you want different types of data, okay? Okay, if you want different types of data class, dito tayo pupunta, no? Okay, ito na pala yan, no? Ito class, again, vectors class, one-dimensional collection of elements siya. Same type. Ito, numeric vector. Ito, character vector. So ito, kinumbine natin numbers, kinumbine natin yung mga characters. Pwede yan. These are called vectors. Okay? So let me run this. Okay. And this one, subset class, no? Ang stock prices kasi natin, itong elements na to, we can get the first element here. Yan, yung 100.5. Alright? Dito naman sa stock prices, yung second at saka yung fourth, yan. At saka yung lahat daw ng greater than 100. Alright? Okay, so let me stop here, class, kasi time na, no? So, ano lang, class, favor, no? Please watch the video that I'm going to post kasi it will include everything already. Okay, I'm sorry that we had to do this to compensate for the missed class last, ano, para ito na yung asynchronous natin and to put you also at par with the other section. All right, do I have your commitment, class, to, and is it okay? Do I have your permission, class, to post yung recording ng next section? Para, so please pay attention to the last discussion, tapos please follow along. May I have your permission to do that, class? Okay. All right. Okay, thank you so much, class, no? Sana in everybody agrees to that. And paki-watch, class, yung ipopost ko na video of the second session. Also, another reason why medyo na ano tayo, kasi nga I apologize, hindi ko pa pala na-send sa inyo yung ano ko, yung Zoom link ko. So, yan lagi ang Zoom link natin, class, ha? Okay, I'll stop recording now.